4,000. I mean, our constitution is not even up to 1,000 pages, not to talk of 4,000. So at the end of the day,
you can imagine
if
that
conference is going to be taken seriously and they come up with 4,000 pages, haven't it been a little impossible?
Yeah, well, there are people to whittle it down to a sizable package that we can deal with. But the thing is, that is the way Truth Be Told is looking at it. We can also look at some other modalities in terms of the composition of the conference in itself.
Let's go in there instead of because we really don't have enough time. The modalities of that particular you talked about the composition. Let's talk about the composition, because one would have thought that document you talked about something got me thinking that well, that was actually a compendium of what they have actually what they found out going through 36 states and Abuja, because they actually went around the geopolitical zones and some specific states. So looking at the composition, do you think is an okay thing for us to fly with that?
Honestly, ab initio, my intent has always been the intent of Truth Be Told Network. The composition of the conference or the confab in itself is okay. But the bottom line is not okay.
What's the bottom line?
The bottom line is, how on earth are these people going to gel? And if they gel, what happens to what they come up with? Because here we are hearing things like, and honestly, I tend to believe two people. Number one, the XGF, who happens to be our SGF and a legal practitioner. The man said it categorically that, look here, whatever happens out here, we're turning it back to the National Assembly.
When did he say that? At the announcement of the modalities?
That's right.
Oh, no, that was not.
He was subtle about it.
That wasn't what a host of people heard. I mean, what they heard was whatever happens at that conference, they will have the decision as to what to do with it to make it law.
I'll tell you one thing. From his own, even from a legal angle, though I'm not a legal practitioner, the thing is, he says, whatever the people at the conference comes up with, either they're going to tell us we're going into a referendum, or they're going to tell us we're going to turn this back to the National Assembly. He said one thing: whatever it is they are going to do has to be by the law, and the law we have is the Constitution we have that we're trying to jettison. And honestly, the National Assembly has not given us the go-ahead to do what we are doing. Though Mr. President is saying that, legally, they have not given us the go-ahead. The last time we met, Chamberlain was running me a reference in Brazil. And what they said was, before they had the referendum, their National Assembly gave them the go-ahead. In this instance, there are two things we need to come out of the National Assembly. They need to tell us, go ahead. You can have a referendum afterwards. Go ahead. Turn it back to us. We'll make it into law. Honestly, without that, we have a challenge.
So we still have options open to us. It's not straight-jacketed.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, the options, the legal options, are what we should look at. The National Assembly, most people are putting them on the back burner. Honestly, they are on the front burner.
What if there are protests saying that we want the National Assembly to say that, oh no, what if there are protests saying let it go to referendum?
Okay.
Because, I mean, that was a scenario in Brazil. There was this protest before the Assembly says, okay,
we agree to that.
Go for the referendum. Okay. So in this case, if the 492 people say, let it go to referendum, without going to the National Assembly, what do you think will play out?
My brother, we're Nigerians. Maybe you and I will join the crowd and go into Abuja and then staking out the whole place. And then the response is there for all to see.
What if this group, these representatives for this conference say, let it go to referendum, not to the National Assembly? If there's a consensus about that.
What about the legality backing it up? You might want to tell me the power resides with the people, then we can go on the street and say this is what we want and we're going to get it. But in a situation like this, there is need. There is need. That is why I can afford to throw a truthful challenge to those men at the National Assembly. If they are true Nigerians, let one of them raise a motion that whatever it is the National Conference is going to come up with should go to referendum. Let them make it into a bylaw. First reading, second reading, and it becomes tenable.
You know, some people have also raised, I mean, our last guest raised issues with the referendum as to how eventually, if it goes to referendum, what you're doing is putting it back within the purview of politicians, and it could actually be twisted. So, and he was saying that the best way would be to take it to the National Assembly level where we can hold each member responsible for what it is they voted for.
Absolutely correct.
You agree?
I said it some time ago. What I said some time ago on this same medium was, let's have this package together, but put it on hold, which brings in the element of timing. What has been said here is, we're going to do this in 3 months, and then at the end of 3 months, personally, after that 3 months, I personally do not want anything to happen because the timing then is wrong. The polity is heated up. The last time we discussed it here, I told you guys that, okay, this PAC thing is going to take 12 months and nothing short of that. And the best way out of it is to implement whatever it is on the 8th Republic. Not now. We can't do it now. So basically, if we are going to get anything good out of what we are talking about, let the 492 sit. Let politicking, elections and re-elections go on. When the 8th Republic comes in, let us go in there. We have a chance now to tell all the aspirants, my friend, when you get there, your number one job is, whatever it is we're coming up with, you will pass it.
So what you're suggesting is a deferment of passing into law the decisions that the confab will arrive at.
There is no time for it, my dear. If they're finished by June, the polity is already heated up. If there are factors in it that is going to favor one candidate or the other, they latch onto it, and then, for God's sake...
What's heating the polity up, by the way? By June, when primaries begin in October.
For God's sake, politicians are breaking the rules here and there. They call campaign, they change it to rallies. Rallies are allowed, campaigns are not allowed. How do you categorize that?
But you know they've given them the right act. I mean,
I know. There's a timetable. There's a timetable.
Yes.
Chamberlain and I can sit down and discuss politics. And when anybody comes to say we're discussing our wives and children.
But not a rally.
A rally is allowed. It's a meeting of people. What we say is another different ballgame.
That's by October.
You can't stop
June
Nigerians.
to October.
You can't stop Nigerians. Honestly, they are doing it. How many occasions have you guys been to? Somebody is celebrating his 2nd or 3rd year in office. For God's sake, it's a political jamboree. How are you going to attack that? You can't stop them. So don't add this into the mix. It becomes an unpalatable salad.
But the Nigerians are not all lawless, you know.
We're not talking about lawlessness. The people on the streets, the politicians and the people on the street are just less than 20%.
All right. Mr. Bola Bakare is of the Truth Be Told Network, a non-governmental organization. Thank you for coming on this morning.
I'm glad to be here.
All right, that's why we'll draw the curtains as well today on the program. We thank you all for watching. It's been a very interesting week. We'll see you next time. I'm Chamberlain also.
Well, thank you for watching. We're hoping to take your comments, hopefully, next week, as Twitter handle has been on the boil.
Well, many thanks, Sulaiman. Our lady.
See ya.